a team of Italian and Scottish researchers has unveiled a discovery that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about ancient Egypt. Using a groundbreaking fusion of radar imaging and seismic analysis, scientists have revealed the existence of a vast subterranean complex, an entire underground city hidden directly beneath the pyramids themselves. The revelation came after a months-long research expedition led by Corrado Malanga from the University of Pisa and Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde. Their secret weapon was a cutting-edge technology known as synthetic aperture radar, or SAR. Mounted on satellites orbiting more than 400 miles above Earth, SAR sends radar pulses deep into the ground, capturing echoes and seismic vibrations that bounce off buried structures. When those radar signatures are processed and transformed into images, the results are astonishing. The scans revealed something no one expected. Beneath the Khafra Pyramid, the second largest on the Giza Plateau, lay a sprawling network of tunnels, vertical shafts, multi-tiered platforms, and massive chambers. Not just random voids or anomalies, but a system of intelligently engineered spaces, stretching more than 6,500 feet in length and descending over 2,100 feet below the desert floor. To put that in perspective, the structure beneath the pyramid plunges nearly 5 times deeper into the earth than the pyramid rises into the sky. In total height, from the base of the subterranean pillars to the pyramid's apex, it exceeds even the towering Burj Khalifa in Dubai. The images, when magnified, depict 8 colossal vertical shafts, cylinder-shaped columns, each encircled by what appears to be spiral staircases or rampways. These shafts lead downward to 2 enormous cubic enclosures, each measuring roughly about 260 feet on all sides. These chambers, positioned with eerie symmetry beneath the pyramid, are connected via an intricate web of horizontal passageways. 5 additional multi-leveled structures were also detected, linked together by geometric corridors, giving the impression not of scattered ruins, but of a deliberate and massive architectural project buried in total secrecy. But the story doesn't stop there. Further SAR data revealed a scattering of additional formations sprawling beyond the pyramid's base, dozens, possibly hundreds of stone outlines that could represent buildings, halls, or unknown archaeological remains. Some of these formations stretch out in orderly grids, while others appear to follow the natural flow of the ancient bedrock. Together, they suggest the presence of a full-scale urban complex hidden beneath the Giza Plateau, a buried city possibly untouched for thousands of years. To verify their findings, the team cross-referenced SAR readings from 2 independent satellites. Malanga explained that if a signal shows up in only one satellite scan, it's dismissed as noise. However, in this case, the structures appeared identically in both scans. The data was clean, consistent, and simply impossible to ignore. Unlike older methods such as ground-penetrating radar, which can struggle beyond a few meters of depth, SAR, when enhanced with seismic calibration, can probe far deeper into the Earth's crust. Using tiny natural tremors in the Earth itself, the system mapped reflections from solid stone, voids, and metal-rich surfaces at unprecedented resolution. The result is a stunning 3-dimensional image of what lies beneath the sand. One of the most striking discoveries came not directly beneath the pyramid, but under the nearby tomb of Osiris. At a depth of over 600 feet, radar images revealed a sealed chamber and what appears to be a massive sarcophagus, still untouched and surrounded by naturally flowing underground water. The chamber, positioned deep beneath known tomb levels, appears completely isolated, but its purpose remains unknown. Nicole Ciccolo, the project's lead spokesperson, called it a leap forward in both science and history. According to Ciccolo, The team's imaging process also accurately reproduced known underground levels of Osiris's tomb, down to the staircase patterns and burial niches, proving the system's reliability before it unveiled anything new. But if this subterranean labyrinth truly exists, deeper, vaster, and older than the pyramid that sits atop it, then the question is no longer just what was found. It's who built it and why. One theory, bold yet gaining traction, suggests that this underground complex was not merely ceremonial or funerary, but functional, designed with one singular purpose: survival. Not from earthly threats, but from something far more apocalyptic. According to Corrado Malanga, the lead Italian researcher, the depth and engineering of the site, descending more than 2,100 feet below the surface, strongly suggest a protective intent. No known structures from the ancient world ever reached such depths, nor did they require it. Theorists have long referenced obscure ancient Egyptian texts that speak of two ominous events: a great purification and a burning sky. For generations, these phrases were interpreted as metaphors and poetic allusions to spiritual transformation or divine wrath. But recent discoveries are prompting a different interpretation. The Great Purification may in fact refer to a widespread cataclysmic cleansing of the earth triggered by forces beyond human control. The burning sky then could describe a literal phenomenon: the fiery descent of a comet, a solar flare, or some kind of atmospheric ignition that turned day into searing light and chaos. In light of the newly uncovered underground complex, some researchers now believe that an advanced civilization, one far older than dynastic Egypt, foresaw such a disaster. And rather than succumb to it, they engineered a vast subterranean city not as a temple, but as a vault. It's here that the theory of an Armageddon vault takes shape. The underground city's scale, symmetry, and apparent infrastructure could indicate it was designed to house not only individuals, but knowledge, science, medicine, and astronomy, sealed away in a time capsule beneath the sands. If true, this would not be the first time human myths echoed memories of ancient global disasters: Atlantis, the Deluge, Zep Tepi. As researchers dug deeper into the digital topography of the site, they noticed something peculiar: a recurring alignment. Not just in the angles of the passageways or the orientation of the cube-shaped chambers, but in their cosmic positioning. Each of the shafts aligns with uncanny precision to stellar coordinates, most notably to the belt of Orion, mirroring the same celestial map etched into the layout of the Giza pyramids above. But while the pyramids correspond to Orion as it would have appeared around 10,500 BC, the structures beneath them, based on their deeper strata, suggest an even older origin. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, the oldest of the three, is conventionally dated to around 2,560 BC. But if the foundations beneath the Khafra Pyramid lie more than 2,000 feet below and predate even the visible monuments, then how old is this structure really? Some estimates based on stratigraphic layering and the undisturbed nature of the subterranean deposits suggest 20,000, 30,000, possibly even 38,000 years before present. That would place its origin not in pharaonic Egypt, but in the Paleolithic era, when, according to Orthodox history, humans were still living in caves and had yet to develop written language. Yet here we are, staring at architectural blueprints that display not only advanced engineering, but astronomical knowledge, alignment with cosmic cycles, and a precision that would challenge even modern construction. While the world was still trying to understand the shocking news about a huge underground city beneath the Giza Plateau, another discovery quietly surprised everyone. A team of scientists from Russia's ITMO University and Germany's Laserzentrum Hanover decided to test something unusual. They projected electromagnetic waves, the same kind of energy used in radios, microwaves, and even cell phones, at the Great Pyramid, and carefully studied how the structure responded. What they found was nothing short of incredible. The pyramid didn't just absorb the waves like most buildings would. Instead, it gathered the energy, focused it, and sent it into very specific parts inside the pyramid. 3 key areas seem to be charging up with energy. 1. The King's Chamber, located near the center of the pyramid. 2. The Queen's Chamber, a little lower inside the structure. 3. The unfinished subterranean chamber, carved deep into the bedrock below the pyramid. Energy from the electromagnetic waves flowed into these rooms and stayed there, almost like water filling up containers. Scientists say this means the pyramid acts like a resonator, a shape or structure that naturally traps and amplifies energy at certain frequencies. That's the same idea behind how guitar strings vibrate or how tuning forks work. But this was happening inside a 4,600-year-old monument. Even more amazing, all 3 of these chambers line up vertically, from deep underground to the very top of the pyramid. It's like a column of energy moving through the heart of the structure. The researchers compared the pyramid to a giant antenna, the kind we use today to receive and send signals. Except this antenna wasn't made in the 20th century. It was made thousands of years ago by a civilization we thought only had basic tools. This discovery gives new strength to a theory once seen as too strange to be true. Retired aerospace engineer Christopher Dunn has long claimed that the Great Pyramid was never a tomb, but actually a power plant, a machine built to create and possibly send out energy. In his theory, the Queen's Chamber was used as a chemical reaction room. 2 substances, probably hydrated zinc and hydrochloric acid, were poured into the chamber through the narrow shafts that run from outside. When these chemicals were mixed, they created hydrogen gas. The gas rose up through the Grand Gallery and filled the King's Chamber, where the granite walls, made of a stone that reacts to pressure and electricity, began to vibrate and focus that energy. The shafts themselves aren't random. Scientists now say the northern shaft from the King's Chamber looks very much like a waveguide, the kind of tube used today to move microwave energy in modern machines. And it doesn't stop there. The pyramid doesn't just collect energy inside, it seems to send it down as well. Tests showed that the base of the pyramid, made of limestone, helps spread that energy through the ground. It's like the pyramid is wired into the earth itself. Up until 1930, many discoveries were made, but probably the most amazing one is what happened in 1935, when a massive project in Giza has been completed and its findings shock everyone. One of the main people in the project, Hamilton Wright, shares, "We discovered underground tunnels used by the ancient Egyptians dating from 5,000 years BC. They are a path that leads right between the second pyramid of the Sphinx. From these underground tunnels, we found a series of shafts and crevices leading to more than 125 feet down, with huge holes and ancillary smaller rooms." Exactly right. And his team discovered some kind of underground city under the plateau of Giza. And for the rest of the year, articles and stories appeared in academic journals, which showed new details, buildings, walls, rooms, and corridors. Photos were taken and shown to selected experts who were, as expected, extremely impressed. Not every day you have the chance to see what is under the Giza Plateau. And then, one day, however, without warning, history disappears and everything is covered. The Egyptian government and local Egyptologists almost closed the case, and direct the main attention of all foreign archaeologists to the Egyptian tombs and treasures. But the question remains, why do you suddenly decide to ignore a discovery of this caliber, literally a mini-city below Giza? The answer comes from historian Jerry Cannon, author of the book The Secrets of Giza Plateau and the Location of the Second Sphinx Revealed. "No one knows what's up there," says Cannon, "and if they find out, they will throw all their books away and the whole history through the window." Of course, we can't help but wonder, what is it that's hidden under the Sphinx, that it has the power to change all of humanity? But perhaps on the other hand, comes the fear that we all know so far is one big lie. Neither Hamilton Wright nor Cannon is the first to mention the secrets under the Sphinx. In the 5th century BC, the Greek philosopher Herodotus wrote his historical short stories and told about his journey to Egypt, where he claims to have been shown the legendary labyrinth of Egypt. What we know about the labyrinth in question is that it is a hidden underground complex that contains the notes of all lost knowledge of ancients before the Great Flood, ancient Atlanteans, for example. And during his journey, Herodotus tells, "There I saw 12 palaces that were connected by terraces. It's hard to believe that they were made by man. The mysterious and enigmatic corridors between rooms and halls were endless wonders for me, as we passed from large courtyards to rooms through galleries, again through more rooms and more courtyards. The roof of each room, yard and gallery is like the walls made of stone. The walls are covered with engraved figures, and each hall is made of white marble with columns on the sides. To each corner, where the labyrinth ends, there is a pyramid about 240 feet high. This is about 73 meters with engraved animals and underground passages, through which can be passed. I was told that the underground rooms and corridors connect this pyramid with the pyramids in Memphis." Let's dive deeper into this hypothesis. It's claimed that the original builders of the Sphinx belonged to an extremely high-race, intelligent beings, and one of their secret chambers contains their accumulated knowledge. Even more astonishing is the story of the heir of historian Masudi, who says the following: "These secret tunnels contain morals of wisdom and achievements in the various arts and sciences, and are hidden so deep that they can remain as notes and guidelines for those who will use them over time. Is all of this even possible? And is it real? If not, why all of them historians talk about the same thing, and why these stories are not at all mentioned or ignored in the modern times that we live in?" Herodotus is far from being the only ancient historian and philosopher who spoke of an underworld in Egypt. The 1st century Greek philosopher Strabo also claims to have seen the maze, which he describes as a great palace constructed from a multitude of palaces, as well as its peer. The Roman author Pliny the Elder writes about a puzzling labyrinth made of paths that built an entire underground complex. At about the same time, the Greek historian Theodorus gives a similar description of the labyrinth. When a man enters the sacred place, he will find a temple surrounded by columns, 40 of a side. This building has a roof made of single stone carved with panels and richly decorated with excellent paintings. They contain memoirs of each king's homeland as well of the temples and the sacrifices that were made. All of this skillfully done in drawings of majestic beauty. We do not know if you've heard of the American clairvoyant Edgar Cayce. He was an exceptional person, not by accident, called the sleeping prophet because literally told his prophecies in his dream. We know it may sound weird, but stay with us. Casey made thousands of predictions in the 20th century before his death in 1945, and was quite accurate. He predicts the collapse of the Comedy Exchange in 1929, World War II, the death of 2 American presidents, the fall of the Soviet Union, and a bunch of other important events. He was so good that a stenographer was hired to stand next to him while he sleeps to record all his predictions during sleep. In his life, he's made about 14,000 predictions, as 12,000 of them have come true, and 2,000 are about to happen in the future. From all of them, he's made one small mistake. He once received a letter from France in which a man asked him to see his health, but he was wrong, predicting the condition of his twin brother. This is his only mistake. But where is the connection with ancient Egypt? In one of these recorded prophecies, he says that the mystical Hall of Chronicles or Wisdom will be discovered in the 90s under the pole of the Great Sphinx in Giza. He says that the Sphinx is not 4,500 years old, as it was accepted back then, but more than 10,000 years old. In the same way, Thoth also says that in the underground near the Sphinx, there is a room where objects are hidden, which proved that there were advanced civilizations on Earth about 500 million years ago. As compared to them, we're just some children. Thoth himself tells that for 500 million years, civilizations existed, but about 5.5 million years, something catastrophic happened, and it affects our familiar Akashic records. But let's go back to the Sphinx. Another thing that doesn't correspond to what we've been taught and the official information. Here, things are starting to get very strange. And this is the damage to the other structures and monuments for which are supposed to have been built at the same time, carved by sand and wind, which support the thesis that they're about 4,000 years old. But the cracks in the Sphinx look like they were made of water. According to the official science, the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx were built around 4,500 years ago, during the time of Cheops and the 4th dynasty. And if you go to the museum in Cairo, they will tell you exactly that. But when this discrepancy was noticed, the Egyptians refused to admit it. And here come the people who dive deeper into this mystery. Between 1991 and 1993, series of studies are made under the direction of Egyptologist John Anthony West and the geologists Robert Schoch. When he learned of all of the controversy, he decided to go see the Sphinx with his own eyes, and noticed that indeed the damage of the Sphinx was caused by water. But he also realized that no one wants to hear their opinion, and of course there was a reason. Most Egyptologists profess Islam, and their sacred book is the Quran, as it says that the creation of the world has begun about 6,000 years ago. And because Muslims are extremely devoted of their faith, they wouldn't accept that, for example, something existed 8 or 10,000 years ago, and they will do their best to defend their faith by persuading everyone that before that time was nothing. For example, the pyramids of the 1st dynasty, which are older than Saqqara, are closed and strictly guarded by the military so that no one can approach them. Why? Because they're more than 6,000 years old. That is why John West left this community and connected with Robert Schoch. He makes a computer analysis and turns out that the Sphinx really has eroded areas caused by water. The computer also calculates that in order to have such cracks, the Sphinx had to be subjected to rainfall for thousands of years, 24 hours a day. How does this sound? Absolutely impossible. This means they calculated that the Sphinx is at least 10 to 15,000 years old. After many disputes, the mass of scientists agree. The official data is that the most ancient civilization is the Sumerian, existed about 3,800 years BC, and that before them existed nothing but savages all over the planet. But this discovery changes everything. The results of their research are shown to the whole world in a 1-hour documentary entitled The Mystery of the Sphinx, which in prime time was watched by more than 30 million people. Surprisingly, the film announces that these studies reveal a series of mysteries, tunnels and rooms just below the Sphinx. Is this the mystical hole that Casey predicted? Before the answers to these questions are found, the Egyptian authorities, led by Dr. Zahi Hawass, intervene and stop the project completely. West and Shock are forced to leave and are banned, and Dr. Hawass defines their findings as American hallucinations. In 1995, thinking the wave had passed, West and Shock submit a new application to continue research. But they were directly denied, or as West says a little later in front of the New York Times, Zahi Hawass practically blocked us. But then something even more curious happened. In 1996, House gets a new project, and to everyone's surprise, he approves it, bearing in mind that several years ago he had put bonds. Egyptian authorities want to check Sphinx research. However, after a company quite kindly offers and gives $10 million to this project, then a short video comes out, of course, in the center of events, and in the spotlight is not just anyone, but Zahi Hawass. His earlier conclusions about American fantasies and hallucinations are gone, and the video shows how he enters one of the underground tunnels through a hole in the Sphinx. And when he's inside, he shares the following. Even Indiana Jones didn't dream of being here, can you imagine? We are already inside the Sphinx, exactly in this tunnel. It hasn't been opened before. So far, no one knows what's inside, but we will open it for the first time. Of course, the video ends with the most interesting part, and again, the questions remain more than the answers. Why did Dr. Hawass do that, and took advantage of West's discoveries first, and then introduced him as the discoverer and the first to open this entrance? What Egyptologists and Egyptian government are hiding about the mysteries in their own country? Egyptian archaeologist Radwan Ash-Sharma believes that there is a female couple under the Sphinx, and it's hidden under a layer of sand. The Great Sphinx is often called the father of fear. According to him, if there is a father of fear, then there should be a mother too. In his reasoning, Ash-Sharma relies on the way of thinking of ancient Egyptians, who quickly followed the principle of symmetry. In his eyes, the lonely figure of the Sphinx looks rather strange. The place where, according to the scientists, the second sculpture should be located rises a few meters over the Sphinx. It is logical to assume that the statue is just hidden from our eyes under the sand, says Ash-Sharma. The archaeologist presents few arguments to support his theory. Ash-Sharma reminds that there is a granite stela between the front paws of the Sphinx, which depicts two statues. There is also a limestone tile that says that one of the statues was struck by lightning and destroyed. However, the mysteries continue to unfold. For example, the Great Pyramid of Giza is positioned at an astronomical latitude of 30 degrees, exactly halfway between the equator and the North Pole. This positioning, combined with an infinitesimal error of just 0.05 degrees in its measurements, hints at an advanced understanding of geodesy in ancient Egypt. Moreover, the pyramid's alignment seems to reflect certain astronomical features. The three pyramids at Giza align perfectly with the constellation of Orion. The number 43,200 appears repeatedly in this discussion, not only in relation to the measurements of the Great Pyramid, but also in terms of axial precision of the Earth. This number, which is a multiple of 72, corresponds to the number of years the Earth takes to wobble on its axis. The numbers 72 and 432 also occur in various ancient mythologies and sacred texts, further deepening the mystery. For instance, 72 represents the number of languages spoken at the Tower of Babel, the number of names for God in Jewish Kabbalah, and the number of temples at Angkor Wat. Further, 432 Hz is believed to be an optimal resonance for music, and 430,000 is the number of syllables in the Hindu Rig Veda. These relationships among the pyramid's measurements, the size and motion of the Earth, and various ancient mythologies and spiritual texts are astonishing. But that's not all. There's also the hypothesis that the pyramid was not just a monument or a tomb at all, but a structure for creating and harnessing energy similar to an ancient power plant. In fact, the concept that the Great Pyramid of Giza could have functioned as a giant power plant harnessing geoelectric and geomagnetic forces has been an ongoing discussion among certain theorists. The fundamental idea is that the unique architecture and geographical elements of the pyramid were deliberately designed to create and channel energy. One compelling element of this theory is the strategic use of different types of stone within the pyramid's construction, each with its unique properties. For example, the outer casing stones were made from the white tufa limestone, a specific type of limestone that was transported over 500 miles from quarries in Tura, Egypt. Tufa limestone is known for its insulating properties and does not contain magnesium, thus effectively preventing the conduction of electricity. This limestone acted as an insulator, keeping the energy within the pyramid. The inner chambers and passageways of the pyramid, on the other hand, were constructed using a different type of limestone that contained tiny amounts of crystal and metal. Both these components are capable of conducting electricity. These mixtures of materials allowed for the potential transfer and concentration of energy within the pyramid. This possible evidence has led theorists to draw parallels with the work of the visionary inventor Nikola Tesla, particularly his Wardenclyffe Tower, designed for wireless power transmission. Like the pyramid, Tesla's tower was also built over an aquifer and had a system for channeling positive ions from the Earth to the tower while transmitting negative ions from the tower's antenna into the atmosphere. In Tesla's design, when electricity was sent into the tower, it was supposed to be transmitted to the world through the ionosphere. The same principle could potentially apply to the Great Pyramid if it indeed functioned as a power generator, channeling the Earth's geoelectric and geomagnetic energy and potentially distributing it wirelessly. Obviously, these parallels suggest a potential knowledge of advanced electricity and magnetism concepts by the pyramid builders that we are only beginning to fully appreciate. In 2018, an intriguing study was conducted by researchers from ITMO University in St. Petersburg and the Laserzentrum Hanover in Germany. They utilized a method known as multiple analysis, often applied in the field of nanoparticles, to investigate the electromagnetic response of the Great Pyramid of Giza to radio waves. The researchers built a model of the pyramid and its proportions, which they subjected to wavelengths ranging from 200 to 600 meters, approximately within the scale of the pyramid itself. What they found was the pyramid seemed to concentrate electromagnetic energy in its internal chambers and under its base, creating pockets of higher energy. The electromagnetic waves used for the study largely align with the resonant frequency of the Earth, a concept Tesla heavily invested in during his lifetime. Nikola Tesla proposed a theory of standing waves around the Earth's surface, often referred as the Schumann resonances. The lowest of these frequencies, and perhaps the most fundamental, is approximately 7.83 Hz, but they extend upwards and interact with the Earth's atmosphere in complex ways. Tesla intended to tap into these natural frequencies to transmit power wirelessly across long distances. In terms of the Great Pyramid, this study might suggest that it was designed to resonate with certain frequencies or harness natural terrestrial energies. As the pyramid concentrates these electromagnetic waves into the chambers and base, it behaves in a way not unlike a resonant cavity, similar to a musical instrument amplifying sound, or a microwave oven amplifying waves to heat food. Eric Wilson, in his 2019 paper, Large-Scale Thermoacoustic Generator, argued that vibrations in rock, like granite, can cause electrons to migrate, possibly turning the pyramid into a power-generating machine, attuned to the Earth's natural vibrations. In this theory, the tidal energy created by the Moon's gravity is the power source, leading to an unlimited and clean energy supply. The Great Pyramid's location also seems well chosen for generating physioelectricity. Physioelectricity is electricity obtained from the natural physical movements with the help of certain harnessing devices, with the Nile River providing a consistent flow of water to create an electric current. It would move upwards through the pyramid, culminating in the gold capstone, the perfect conductor. The underlying aquifer would contribute to the energy generation process by creating vibrations that could be converted into electromagnetic energy. However, both Tesla's tower and the Great Pyramid seem to have suffered catastrophic events that led to their dysfunction. The Wardenclyffe Tower was destroyed, while the discovery of traces of acids within the pyramid could imply a controlled explosion or some form of a chemical reaction that may have taken place inside the structure. It's posited that the acid traces may have remnants of a more complex process related to energy generation or storage, potentially involving chemical reactions, but this remains purely speculative. In addition, the walls of the king's chamber appear to have separated from the floor and exhibit a bulging pattern, possibly indicating an explosion's force acting upon them. This same type of damage is also evident in the steps of the chamber and other parts of the interior structure. Initially, it was believed that an earthquake might have caused this suspected explosion. However, engineer Christopher Dunn dismissed this idea and instead proposed that a different type of cataclysmic event could have occurred within the pyramid. This event, he suggested, may have effectively eroded the structure's functionality as an active power plant. Interestingly, there is no record of such a catastrophic event in the meticulous chronicles of ancient Egyptians. This lack of documentation casts a shadow of doubt on the whole theory. While the Egyptians were great record keepers, there seems to be no documentation of their use of electricity, let alone any record of the Great Pyramid as a power plant. But there are some who believe that the ancient Egyptians utilized electricity. Certain hieroglyphs depict what appear to be light bulbs, yet there's no archaeological evidence supporting the presence of materials necessary to make light bulbs, such as glass, in ancient Egypt. However, the existence and advanced engineering of the Great Pyramid, built in unknown times, is an undeniable testament to the sophisticated knowledge possessed by the ancients. But this leads to an intriguing hypothesis. What if the Egyptians did not build the pyramids themselves? What if they merely discovered these impressive structures, which were remnants of a more advanced prehistoric civilization? The Orion constellation theory, proposed by Graham Hancock, posits that the layout of the Great Pyramid complex closely matches the pattern of the stars in the Orion constellation. The Egyptians were known to track celestial movements for agriculture and ritualistic purposes, which lends some credibility to this theory. However, any correlation between the pyramids and the night sky would have to reflect the celestial arrangement as it appeared about 4,500 years ago during the Old Kingdom of ancient Egypt. Robert Schoch, a professor at Boston University, suggests that the Sphinx and the Giza might be approximately 13,500 years old. He bases his assertion on the fact that the Sphinx shows signs of erosion caused by the wind, sand, and notably water. The water erosion pattern seems to indicate that a tremendous volume of water once rushed over the plateau, which aligns with the conditions at the end of the last ice age around 9,700 BC. If true, this would drastically push back the dates of these monumental structures and hint at the existence of an advanced civilization thousands of years before our current understanding. The potential for an advanced ancient civilization capable of harnessing clean, unlimited energy is fascinating, especially given our present struggle with climate change and renewable energy sources. Nikola Tesla, a visionary inventor from the late 19th and early 20th centuries, sought to harness the Earth's natural electromagnetic field to provide free, renewable energy to everyone. The parallels between Tesla's ideas and the theoretical functionality of the Great Pyramid underscored the relevance and significance of Tesla's work even. Today, if Tesla had succeeded, our reliance on fossil fuels might have been significantly reduced or even eliminated, leading to a cleaner, more sustainable world. However, his work threatened the empires of the industrialists of his time, such as J.P. Morgan, who had vested interest in maintaining the status quo of fossil fuel consumption. Consequently, Tesla's vision was largely quashed, and he died bankrupt. While Tesla's ambitious project of providing free and accessible energy to all never came to fruition, his ideas continue to resonate and inspire. His work poses intriguing questions. How would Tesla's innovations have reshaped our world if they had been fully realized? And what could we learn from these lost opportunities as we navigate our current energy crisis? These considerations, along with the ongoing archaeological mysteries such as the Great Pyramid, challenge us to reconsider our historical understanding and seek sustainable solutions for the future.
This discovery, in my opinion, is the most important discovery on the 21st century.
Egypt, an enigma veiled by the sands of time, continues to capture our imagination even today. Renowned across antiquity for its remarkable mysteries and unparalleled feats of structural engineering, Egypt remains a treasure trove of undeciphered secrets. Isn't it intriguing how the essence of an ancient Egypt in all its glory is yet largely unknown to us? Even though periodic discoveries hint at the extraordinary capabilities of this ancient civilization, a majority of Egypt's past remains buried under its vast sands. Egypt's spectacular accomplishment, so mind-boggling in their intricacy and scale, have led many to ask a question that smears the border of reality and science fiction. Could the ancient Egyptians have been in contact with alien beings who passed on their advanced knowledge to humans? Using new technology, such as soft-bodied robots that are capable of tunneling through sand and navigating in tight spaces, explorers have made some terrifying discoveries in the sands of Egypt. What exactly were these mind-blowing discoveries, and how do they reshape our understanding of ancient Egypt and its people? From the world's first ever pregnant mummy to hidden chambers in the Great Pyramid, these recent discoveries have only served to fuel speculations and fascinate us further. But what do these discoveries really signify? What secrets do they hold about the mysterious land of Egypt? In 2011, a strange archaeological discovery was made in the ancient Egyptian city of Avaris. Near a royal compound, archaeologists found 4 pits containing a total of 16 dismembered, larger than average right human hands, estimated to be about 3,600 years old. The peculiar find was near King Hayan's palace, a ruler of the Hyksos, a West Asian group that once held power in northern Egypt. This led to the hypothesis that these hands might be the earliest physical evidence of an ancient practice where soldiers would sever the right hand of their foes after victory, trade them for gold, and then dispose of them in designated pits. The remarkable archaeological site of Saqqara forms part of an ancient necropolis associated with the Egyptian city of Memphis. The first capital of unified Upper and Lower Egypt, this historical site flourished until around the 7th century AD and contains many intricate royal tombs. A few years ago, archaeologists excavating this site unearthed an amazing collection of ancient relics that had been hidden in the desert sands for over 2,500 years. Among these treasures were many sacrificed sacred animals, 250 intricately painted wooden coffins, and numerous stunning statues. However, the most fascinating discovery was a mysterious papyrus scroll tucked away inside one of the sarcophagi. This scroll, now known as the Waziri Scroll, was initially estimated to be less than 30 feet long. However, after meticulous restoration, it was revealed to be an astonishing 52 feet in length. After more research and translating, it was clear that the amazing papyrus had writings from the famous and mysterious Book of the Dead. This old book contains many spells and clues, funeral spells thought to help the souls of the dead travel the dangerous path to the afterlife, and finally unite them with the gods. But the sands of Saqqara hold more secrets than we can imagine. Situated within the famed Saqqara complex on the Giza Plateau is a peculiar ancient structure known as the Headless Pyramid. Despite the region being extensively explored for over 2 centuries, many Egyptologists believe that only about a third of its ancient underground treasures have been unearthed. First discovered in 1842 by a German archaeologist, this obscure headless pyramid was quickly reclaimed by the ever-shifting desert sands and remained lost for over 160 years until its rediscovery. Today, only the base of this vast shrine survives. The site is strewn with the uniquely disfigured remains of numerous colossal structures, which adds to its intrigue. Further adding to the site's mystique is a peculiar dark grey stone box partially buried in the sand. The box's enormous rock lid remains curiously intact and seems to have been fitted in such a way that it's not just placed on top, but has perfectly slid into the top of the box itself. A mysterious, perfect drill hole visible on one side of the box remains unexplained. Inside a nearby pyramid, another box of very similar design exists, made entirely from another exotic volcanic rock known as dacite. Some observers claim that the stunning and impressive ancient stonework found in this now ruined site gives off the impression of having been crafted by a fabled, lost technology that we still don't understand. But what happens if we look at the most astonishing Egyptian monument, the Great Pyramid? The Great Pyramid of Giza, standing as the lone survival of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, is a stunning testament to the architectural brilliance of the ancients. Rising to an impressive height, it punctuates the skyline as a majestic monument that has captivated humanity for millennia. Despite countless years of exploration and study, the Great Pyramid continues to guard its secrets closely. The techniques employed in its construction, the intentions of its architects, and the purpose of its enigmatic interior chambers, these riddles persist. Their answer is lying hidden within the heart of this colossal edifice. So, what's inside the Great Pyramid? So far, we have known that the Great Pyramid of Giza houses 3 primary chambers. The King's Chamber, located in the pyramid's heart, made from red granite and featuring a large granite coffer. The Queen's Chamber, beneath and east of the King's Chamber, with 2 mysterious shafts. And the subterranean chamber, a seemingly unfinished space cut into the bedrock with a pit and a dead-end tunnel. These chambers are linked by corridors and passages, including the Grand Gallery and the well shaft, which collectively exhibit the pyramid's intricate engineering and design. The King's Chamber in addition to the mysterious empty granite coffer, is also known for its complex system of 5 relieving chambers above it. They were constructed to distribute the weight of the pyramid above the king's chamber, reducing the risk of the chamber's ceiling collapsing from the massive weight above. The chambers are stacked one on top of another, and they're relatively narrow. They're filled with blocks of granite and limestone, and except for the highest chamber, their ceilings are flat. The relieving chambers are known by the names given to them by the British engineer Wayneman Dixon and Dr. James Grant, who explored these spaces in 1837. The bottommost chamber immediately above the king's chamber is called the relieving chamber. The next one is named Davison's chamber after Nathaniel Davison. Following is the Wellington's chamber, then Nelson's chamber, and the topmost chamber is known as Lady Arbuthnot's chamber. Recent discoveries, however, have shown that above the Great Gallery, the corridor that leads to the king's chamber, there is a hollow space now known as the Big Void. This discovery is significant because this is the first major structure found within the Great Pyramid since the 19th century. Its exact size, shape, orientation, and position within the pyramid structure are not yet fully known, and its purpose remains a mystery. It is speculated that this empty space is at least 30 meters, around 98 feet long. So, how was it discovered since there is no passage leading to it? The Big Void in the Great Pyramid of Giza was discovered by a team of scientists as part of the Scan Pyramids project, which is a collaborative effort from researchers of various institutions to use innovative, non-invasive technology like infrared thermography, photogrammetry, laser scanning, and muon radiography to study the pyramids. So how did the ancient people move these enormous blocks of stone? Millions of people visit the pyramids of Giza each year, which is not surprising given their enormous size and complexity. The largest of the 3 pyramids, the Khufu Pyramid, is approximately 755 feet wide at its base and was originally 481 feet high. Each of the more than 2 million limestone slabs used to construct the Khufu Pyramid weighed approximately 2.5 tons on average, with the heaviest one coming at 80 tons. But lifting 2 million large limestone slabs is a huge undertaking. How did they get these stones here? The fact is, no one really knows for certain exactly how they were constructed. Mainstream science contends that it took a workforce of 4,000 to 5,000 men and 20 years to build the Great Pyramid using ropes, pulleys, ramps, ingenuity, and brute force. And it's possible, but is that even relevant? 2 popular theories aim to answer this enigma. Either an advanced, now lost civilization once resided on Earth, or extraterrestrial beings intervened in our history, bestowing advanced knowledge upon our ancestors. Myths and legends from these ancient cultures often describe divine or superhuman forces employing levitation techniques to manipulate these colossal stones. The local folklore surrounding England's Stonehenge, for instance, speaks of levitational methods to transport its towering stones. And when it comes to the construction of Egypt's Great Pyramid, the 5th century BC historian Herodotus wrote of celestial guardians imparting to the Egyptians the ability to float the limestone blocks used in the pyramid's construction. Some researchers argue that ancient cultures might have really mastered the art of sound-based levitation, allowing them to manipulate heavy objects with ease. Although there are no first-hand testimonies, a later written testimony by Abu Hassan Ali al-Masudi, an Arab historian renowned as the Herodotus of the Arabs from the 10th century, offers some intriguing hints. After extensive travels around the globe, al-Makrizi settled in Egypt and wrote a comprehensive 30-volume history of the world. Like so many others, he was fascinated by Egypt's majestic pyramids. He wrote a captivating account detailing an unusual method for moving the enormous stone blocks used in their construction. So where did al-Masudi obtain his information, considering that the pyramids were already thousands of years old when he wrote this? Was it a part of Egypt's oral tradition that was passed down through the generations? Or was this just a fantastic tale made by an imaginative author? While levitation may sound a bit fictitious, and rightfully so, since most people think of it as some form of sorcery, supernatural power, or some sort of futuristic science used in flying saucers, there is actual science behind it. During the 1970s, British science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke formulated 3 laws to explore the boundaries between science and science fiction, with the 3rd law stating that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Clarke suggests that technology, when advanced enough, will appear magical to those who do not understand it. This concept becomes particularly intriguing when examining the acoustic properties of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is known to amplify sounds at specific frequencies. This suggests that the ancient Egyptians were highly knowledgeable in the science of acoustics, and perhaps even employed it for effects that we might find magical, such as levitation. However, as we mentioned at the beginning, the pyramids aren't the only enigmatic ancient structures composed of gigantic stone blocks. Consider other monumental works like the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, Lebanon, home of the 3 largest stone blocks ever utilized in human architecture. Each block is believed to weigh a staggering of 1,000 tons. Despite the limitations of contemporary industrial equipment, these stones are so precisely aligned that not even a sheet of paper can be inserted between them. Nearby sits Hajar el-Hiba, the single largest piece of stone ever carved by human hands, weighing in at 1,200 tons. It is estimated that it would take the combined strength of 16,000 men just to move it slightly, a feat even modern technology would find daunting. Another enigma is Nan Madol, an archaeological marvel located on the island of Pohnpei in Micronesia. Often referred as the Machu Picchu of the Pacific, Nan Madol is unique for being the only ancient city built atop a coral reef. The site dates back to approximately 200 BC and consists of hundreds of stone logs, each around 3 meters long and 1 meter in diameter. These logs are stacked similarly to firewood, forming walls that reach heights of 40 feet and a thickness of 18 feet, surpassing the height of a 3-story building. The stone locks individually weigh approximately 2.5 tons, while some that form the towering walls can weigh up to 50 tons. So again, the question is, how did they accomplish such monumental feat? Many anecdotal accounts of acoustic levitation come from travelers in the Far East who claim to have met mystics or ascetics capable of levitating objects, sometimes with the help of sound. One remarkable account comes from a medical practitioner named Dr. Jarl, who claims to have witnessed this phenomenon firsthand during his time in secluded Tibetan community. In 1939, Dr. Jarl was summoned to a secluded Tibetan region to provide medical care for a revered Buddhist monk afflicted with an unidentified disease. After gaining the trust of their community, he was invited to witness a stunning display of sonic levitation as a sign of gratitude. The monks led him to a remote clearing encircled by towering cliffs. At the clearing's center lay a massive stone slab situated roughly 250 meters from one of the cliffs. The monks assembled 19 musical instruments, 13 drums and 6 trumpets in a semicircular pattern around the stone. As they initiated a symphony of drums and trumpets, a horde of monks began to chant, gradually increasing the pace. Although the initial 4 minutes yelled at no results, the stone began to tremble and eventually took flight as the crescendo reached its peak. It soared upwards, finally settling atop of a cliff 250 meters above its original position. Dr. Jarl captured this phenomenon on film, but sadly, the footage has since been confiscated and classified. But that's not the only example of acoustic levitation. The Florida Coral Castle, constructed by Edward Leedskalnin between 1923 and an unspecified year, is an enigmatic labyrinth stone fortress, comprising nearly 1,000 tons of quarried rock. The entire structure was single-handedly carved, assembled, and lifted into place by Leedskalnin himself. One obelisk he erected is said to weigh 28 tons, while the heaviest stone on the premises is estimated to weigh a staggering 35 tons. To put this into perspective, some of these stones are twice as heavy as the largest blocks used in the Great Pyramid of Giza, and he accomplished all of this without the use of any heavy-duty machinery. Leedskalnin himself was cryptic but not intriguing. He said, "I've unearthed the pyramid's mysteries, understanding how the ancients in places like Peru, Yucatan, and Asia lifted heavy stones using only rudimentary tools." He claimed that through his Freemason connections he'd come across secretive knowledge that helped him manipulate gravitational forces. 21st century scientists are unsure if such a thing is even conceivable. Nonetheless, there have been many advancements, some of which are significant enough to imply that large-scale sonic levitation might be possible in the future. Consider the palpable bass in a nightclub or concert, or how ultrasound waves can break up kidney stones, or how a certain pitch can shatter glass. Modern experiments in acoustic or sound levitation are frequent and ongoing, and several scientists have succeeded in levitating and moving microscopic particles and liquid droplets using sound waves. In two such trials, lightweight polystyrene balls larger than the elevating wavelengths were successfully levitated, marking a significant advancement in the control of focused sound pressure. In a 2016 test conducted by a team of researchers from the UK and Brazil, a 50mm polystyrene ball was raised several centimeters off the ground and remained there for the duration of the sound waves. Just 1 year later, in January 2017, researchers at the University of Bristol in England made headlines when they introduced a prototype for a portable tractor beam, a device capable of levitating small objects solely through the use of sound waves. This handheld apparatus, equipped with an array of speakers, permits its user to focus sound waves on lightweight materials, thus effectively neutralizing the force of gravity and lifting the object into the air. So, could this be an early form of an ancient technique once used to levitate immense stones? While today's technology is limited to lifting only small, light-weighted objects, it's worth considering whether ancient civilizations had advanced to a level where they could manipulate this principle on a much grander scale. If we allow ourselves to entertain this idea, it offers a compelling explanation for the construction of colossal megalithic structures that have puzzled experts for centuries. It gives plausibility to ancient myths and legends that describe levitation as the means by which monumental stones were moved. In this context, what we are witnessing today with these technological developments might be a rediscovery or re-engineering of lost ancient wisdom. As modern science continues to explore the capabilities of acoustic levitation, we may find that the ancients were far more advanced in this area than we ever imagined. So, does acoustic levitation explain how the gigantic ancient monuments like the pyramids were built? Opinions vary. While mainstream archaeologists rely on theories involving cramps and pulleys, the logistics in terms of size and material requirements seem almost impossible. Plus, questioning established theories often gets you labeled as a fringe thinker, even though scientific revolutions have often come from outside the mainstream. Figures like Kepler, Copernicus, Pasteur, and Tesla were all once considered heretics. Isn't it a bit presumptuous to dismiss alternative theories as pseudoscience? After all, many revolutionary ideas were initially rejected. Take the Wright brothers, for instance. In 1903, the New York Times said human flight wouldn't be possible for millions of years. It's often how we perceive the new ideas. That gets us to create it and manifest it in our reality. Don't ever forget this. What you believe in will eventually become your reality.